Good afternoon. Today, our group is going to discuss the process of interpersonal communication. My name is Malcolm James.
I'm Clatt.
And I'm Ariel McLeod.
The process of interpersonal communication. What is communication? Communication can be defined as the process of sending or receiving messages that have meaning. For example, when you talk to yourself, it's called intrapersonal communication. What is interpersonal communication? Interpersonal communication is the transmission of meaning between two or more people. For example, one sends a message to another. There are 5 essential components of interpersonal communication. 1, the sender, the person who initiates the message. 2, the receiver, the person whom the message is targeted. 3, the message, the information meaning that is transmitted from the sender to the receiver. 4, channel, refers to the sensory means through which the message reaches the receiver. And last is context, the environment in which the communication takes place. Nonverbal communication. What is nonverbal communication? This is the transmission of meaning from one person to another through the means of symbols or other than words. Continue. There are general principles of nonverbal communication, and that is people communicate their feelings without saying a word. For example, looks that kill. Nonverbal communication conveys emotion. For example, demonstrates of positive feelings, standing close to someone you care for, often as touching or looking at them frequently. 2, nonverbal communication is multi-channel. This could be information may be transmitted through gestures, facial expressions, eye contact. Is the vocal tone at the same time? 3, nonverbal communication is ambiguous. A shoulder shrug, a raised eyebrow can mean different things. Receivers may have difficulty determining whether nonverbal messages are being sent intentionally or unintentionally. 4, nonverbal communication may contradict verbal messages. Research shows that when someone is instructed to tell a lie, deception is most readily detected through nonverbal signals. 5, nonverbal communication is cultural bound. Cultural influences how people notice, retain, or decode nonverbal behaviors they witness.
Towards more effective communication, these are your conversational skills, and there are 5. The first is indicate you are open to conversation by commenting on your surroundings. The second one is introduce yourself. The third is select a topic others can relate to. The fourth is keep the conversational ball rolling, and the 5th is to make a smooth exit. And for self-disclosure, that is the act of verbally communicating information about yourself or opening up to yourself about others. The next one is effective listening, which is mindful activity and complex process that requires one to select and to organize information, interpret and respond to the communication, and recall what one has heard. For communication problems, this focuses on 2 problems that can interfere with effective communication, which are anxiety and communication barriers. For communication apprehension, that the anxiety causes by having to talk with others or having stage fright. Barriers of effective communication, defensiveness, and excessive concern with protecting oneself from being hurt. 2, ambushing, verbal or physical attack made on the presenter. 3, motivational distortion. People hear what they want to hear instead of what is actually being said, i.e. selective listening. And 4, self-preoccupation is pretending to listen while your mind is occupied with other topics that have captured your attention.
Interpersonal conflict. Interpersonal conflict is a disagreement among 2 or more people. In 1994, Lou Lofts presented us with the conflict avoidance cycle. The first step is people think of conflict as bad. Next, they get nervous about conflict they are experiencing. They avoid the conflict as long as possible. Then the conflict gets out of control and it must be confronted. Lastly, they handle the confrontation badly. People manage conflict in different ways, including avoiding or withdrawing, which leads to a low concern for self and others, accommodating, which is low concern for self and high concern for others, and it may lead to resentment. Competing or forcing is high concern for self, low concern for others, which could lead to post-conflict tension. Compromising is moderate concern for others and self. It's a pragmatic approach that is fairly constructive. The most effective style is collaborating, which is high concern for self and others. It is the most productive approach for dealing with conflict. Dealing with conflict constructively. Make communication honest and open, which pretty much means say what's on your heart and don't hold back information. Exhibit trust. It could smoothen conflicts and conversations. Avoid loaded words. Loaded words trigger negative emotions. For example, dog whistle is a loaded word used a lot in politics. Try using grace. Put aside your own desires to honor someone else's. Use a positive approach and help the other person save face. Instead of saying, "You never helped me with the laundry," try saying, "I love the way you helped fold the linen." Thank you.